Let's dive in, baby. Here we go. Dan and Slick, a podcast, episode 32. We're back, and we got facial hair, Slick. We got facial hair. How we doing?
Doing well. Let's go.
All right, how was the software update? So the other day, it's we're over holiday break, what have you, Thanksgiving, and I decided to go off the grid for a day. I want to turn my phone off. Want to get to the beach, catch a few waves, see nature, and all I could think about when I got back to my phone was whether or not I had text messages or like some sort of notifications people were thinking about me. And I came back, I had a few, but how do we update? I think it's like an engineering, like a re-engineering of how technology has effed us up to our own internal software and take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot more public kind of information about just how technology is kind of tapping into our dopamine receptors, so we're like expecting these rewards all the time. So you're saying like, how do we change that? Is self-awareness enough to switch it? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, but like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to frame it up. I think it's like the idea around self-importance is crucial, I think, from an evolutionary perspective. Like, people are thinking about me like I matter to others, but in the greater scheme of things, as we continue to become a more connected society, I think it's a good thing to realize that we don't as much as we necessarily think in our own brains. So I'm trying to square that circle.
Yeah, but I mean, so people texting you though, that's not like that wouldn't be that's just a personal relationship sort of importance. It's not like a worldly importance. Because like if you're talking about like a self-importance where like fame or fortune and stuff like that, that's like you're providing some sort of persona to people that they connect with or some sort of service of great value that they pay for, right? So it's like that's like a different question, I feel.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, I think it was just interesting because it was like I rarely have my phone off for that long, and there's like this weird kind of idea around. At least in my brain, I was like the idea that others would know that I wasn't like checking my phone. So I don't know. It was just kind of a weird phenomena that I'm trying to figure out what was the general like happenings going on there. It was weird.
Yeah, I wish more people would have that moment though of having that weirdness of craving a notification. I think a lot of people feel it all the time, but they don't have the language to kind of like name it and then change things about it. So
yeah, apparently I don't need it, but I tried, folks.
I think you got it, Dan. Okay, so logical fallacy here. Sometimes kind of wannabe podcasters, but sometimes wannabe like cutting edge thought leaders. When I hear them talk, sometimes they like reference their own book in support of the point they're making, and that's just like such a logical fallacy. So I went and looked up what would this actually be called, and I know now. What do you think it is?
Yeah, you put this one. It's like some sort of reverse ad hominem. It's like a propping yourself up, even if you like circular reasoning. I don't know. We'll go with that. It's like circular reasoning. Just because I wrote about this topic doesn't mean that I'm the be all end all on it. Definitely you hear that a lot on your talking heads, as you had referenced earlier. Oh, I talked about this, therefore, or I've read about it, therefore I must be incredibly knowledgeable on it. Yeah,
and it's kind of this like fiat accompli, like I've done it, therefore like rest on my laurels for it kind of deal, right? And it's like, I've talked about this and I've published it, so because it's published, it's a finished thing, and I'm just going to use that as a building block when really, not really the situation at all. More like a sugar cube. What?
No, it just made me think of something quite funny. From a person that my uncle still references a paper that he wrote in college, like 40 years ago, to reify his stance on a certain like social or political issue, and that's always one of the first things. Like, dude, like the world changes around you at all times. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, especially 40 years ago, the world changes every week, every moment, what have you. So it's an interesting self-propping up that we tend to do.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's like a way to insulate ourselves from that. I think we just need to be just like, okay, someone starts going down this line of thinking, just like red flags, just like make sure you're raising the red flags about it, But I mean, there's the other side of it, which is just like you want an expert who has done their due diligence to share that and not have to go line by line and explain it all. So kind of double-edged there, but
yeah, it's a tough one. So tip of the day, this is as I talk about it a little bit more, I feel like I'm stealing a little bit. I remember seeing it from a TED Talk back in the day. Not necessarily fear setting, but fail setting, right? So we talk a lot about goals, like what we want to achieve. But I think one of the things, especially when you dive into a new relationship, a marriage, having kids, a new business, a new job opportunity, it's like what and how and why will this fail? Like, give me 5 reasons for it. I think it's incredibly productive for folks to go in and have that mindset as to instead of just going for a little bit more of an idealistic perspective.
Right. And, is this like the focus? Like that should be the focus, or that should be additive to like the regular goals you set?
I'm definitely not against goal setting, but I think that why will this if you're starting a new company, like why will this fail? We might not adapt to market, changes quickly enough. We might not move fast enough. In this particular reason, we have a weakness here. It could be the same thing with going into a sports team or something like that. Like we'll go into a game on Sunday. And we have a weakness here. How do we make sure that we re-up against that instead of just kind of thinking idealistically?
Yeah. So I think that the sports analogy could be useful here because it's kind of like that defensive thinking, which is certainly not flashy, but is probably more effective, right? It's like people don't love seeing highlights of defenses stopping offenses in boring ways, right? It's like, this didn't happen. That's not the top 10 reel. It's like, number one on ESPN is a 3 and out.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's a certain stinginess that comes to defenses that can do that on sports. Yeah, it's definitely like a sexy highlight type reel. I think that it should be kind of social norm to, especially if you have friends that are making big commitments in life, especially socially, it's like start to think about why this might not work out, why this might fail. I think it's a good way to because the idea no marriage goes in thinking that it's going to fail, but like if you bring that kind of future to the present, I think it's a bit more you're bringing more strength to the game.
Definitely.
So marriage counseling on Dan's look.
That definitely brings in that strength. Okay, 5 seconds into mind. Okay, so here we go. I was at Target and I tried to buy a trash can lid just by itself. They're not sold by themselves. So I go up to, I take the lid off and I go to the front. I'm like, hey, can I just buy this? And the guy's like, well, it's not sold separately, but yeah, I can. And I was like, what's going on here? And they have a policy where like you can just barter for stuff. Like you can change the prices, buy individual parts, and I think we should bring back full-on bartering. I think that would be amazing.
I think pretty sure you said haggle. I like the term haggle, but
haggle, barter, same thing.
Yeah, I think there's a good kind of classic early human economy to it. It's something we've known for thousands of years now. Most folks aren't purchasing things in person, especially in the midst of a global pandemic. Definitely gets lost in the shuffle a bit. So I think it's a useful skill for sure to be able to have a bit of an uncomfortable conversation with someone from a buyer perspective.
What do you think of like I know there's eBay, there's like Facebook Marketplace, things like that, where you can offer your stuff but for money. What are your thoughts on just a trading sort of deal where it's just like, hey, I'm offering this, and you're gonna go look for something that you want. You're like, hey, do you want to trade? So it's a trading sort of deal instead of money sort of deal.
No money. Well, yeah, it's a total. Total barter economy, I suppose. Yeah, I'll put my toaster on there. You give me your old microwave. We're a businessman. I could use a toaster. Am I right?
So I think, and I know I bring this up I don't think any sort of large scale thing would ever happen with this, but I think it is a lot of fun to do this with friends. So for example, like if you go out in some future utopia where you can go out, if you go out with some friends and you're splitting the meal or something, or you cover for a friend, like it's never a dollar amount. Like you never have to pay back with dollars. It's always like, okay, I'll buy the beers next time, and it's just completely rounded. It's never a specific dollar amount. Screw Venmo. It's always you're having an experience with your friend the next time, and you do something for them. So it's always this like give and take personal economy. It's never about the money between friends. I think that would be good.
I'm a more personal friend. Every year I'm like doing a tab. I'm like, hey man, that shit costs $6.50 plus the tip plus the tax. You owe me $9.25 now, Jim. Jerk. I'm sending you a Venmo request right now. No, I think you're totally right. Yeah, I think that's a better way to be with your friends.
Yeah, my friend Pat would do that in college because, he was very generous in buying drinks and stuff. And, people would always be, oh, like, let me pay you back. And he'd just be like, buy me a drink sometime. Or buy me a beer. Like, he'd always just say, like, buy me a beer. Just like,
yeah.
Just that it builds trust. It's like, hey, like,
absolutely.
You might not buy me a beer, but I'm not going to focus on the trivial, exchange of goods. I'm going to focus on being in the moment and getting the people what they want. And I think that's just like a huge net positive. I think so. A lot of people get weighed down when they go out to spend money on like it's so expensive. I'm just like, oh my God, it's like a couple dollars. Like you're out already. Enjoy yourself a little bit. Like you couldn't budget like a little. You couldn't budget 10% more into your, going out funds to like figure this out. Like come on.
Yeah, if you're already out, you've already like lost that your line of logic there. It's like you went out. Like you shouldn't have gone out if you didn't want to do that. But we talk about this in sales too. It's like the idea of making deposits instead of withdrawals. Like a lot of times in sales, if I'm selling to you, I'm asking you for something. Hey, I want some of your time. Hey, I want some of your, money at the end of the day. And whatever it is, business to consumer, business to business. But it's like, if I'm, out there helping you proactively, even if you're a potential customer or not, it's like that builds trust. That's like taking my time and investing it, similar to buying a beer. I'm investing it in a relationship, even if it doesn't come to fruition. It's like it's better to be on that side of the spectrum than on you don't want to be the guy that's like always asking for shit. Like, hey, can you pick this one up? You don't want to be that guy.